Hi everyone, my name is Shauna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through some of my favorite fiction books. So I do want to start off with a few kind of disclaimers. One, this is not an exhaustive list, it's just kind of 10 that I really wanted to highlight and kind of show off. Another one is that this is just focusing on fiction. My favorite nonfiction books I'm going to do as a separate video. And then, of course, that this is in no particular order. I'm just kind of running through these, just any which way I pulled them off my shelves, basically, not just like all-time favorite running down. It's just a bit of a hodgepodge pick. But yeah, I'm going to start off with Paranesi by Susanna Clarke. I loved this book. It was weird, it was wacky, it was confusing. I had no idea what was happening for a while. And it was so enjoyable. I do think a lot of kind of booktube people who talk about this say go into it a little bit blind, a little bit unknown. Don't maybe read too much about it before going in, but just know that you are following a character as they navigate this kind of labyrinth of a house. It's really interesting. It's really fascinating. This was my first Susanna Clarke book. She also wrote Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I think. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, where I want to say the like Mr. and Doctor in the wrong part, but she also wrote that. But this was my first exposure to her writing, and it was really good, very entertaining. And I feel like I want to put now where I'm like, oh, I loved this book. I'm going to say that for everyone. I'm going to try not to say that, but yeah, it was really good, very entertaining. Next, I have Circe by Madeline Miller. A lot of folks probably know Madeline Miller for her book, The Song of Achilles, which in my opinion, it's a good book. It's very solid. But I think Circe really is just phenomenal. I think it just showcases Madeline Miller as really just the most beautiful writer of I don't know. I want to say our time. Like I don't want to hype up Madeline Miller too much, but I love Circe. It is beautiful. Um, I feel like I'm not going to get too much into the synopses of these books. I don't know. I'm never like on the fly, just like reading them out is one thing, but then like trying to create my own summary or synopsis of it is another thing. Definitely going to get better with time. But just know that Circe is a Greek retelling of, yes, you guessed it, Circe. She basically gets ousted by Zeus. She gets kicked out and she has to live on an island by herself. There's obviously a lot of trials and tribulations and people she meets along the way and experiences that she has that she goes through. It is really beautiful. I loved this book and I thought the audiobook was really well done as well for this. Next is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So also she is really well-known author, but this is one that I've read from her that I absolutely adored. This is fantasy. Like, this is fantasy in a nutshell. This is magic. This is girls kicking butt. This is learning how to really come into your own strength. I love Uprooted. A little dash of romance, a little magic, a little adventure, little I gotta save my best friend. Like, it's a little bit of everything, and I love Uprooted. Sorry, I can tell that my lighting is a little bit weird, so it's kind of hard to see the cover sometimes. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's beautiful. I love this book. It is, yeah. I just like it's one of those things where you like kind of get overwhelmed and you start thinking about it and you're like, oh my God, I have to reread this. Like, I love this book so much that I have to reread this. She's also really known for Spinning Silver. Personally, did not love that book as much. I absolutely love Uprooted. Yeah, even thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah, I want to reread it. But anyways, but yeah, it's this idea that there's like a small village. There's like a magician essentially who lives in like kind of the next valley over. He always takes a girl from his village. What he does with her is to be determined. No one knows. And so we have our main character who she's basically going to lose her best friend and then decides, nope, not happening. I am going in her place. And she becomes, well, you'll see. Anyway, you'll see. Great book. Very good. The next two I want to talk about are part of the same world, the same series. So I have Graceling and I have Fire, both by Kristen Kishore. Amazing. Again, this is like classic fantasy. This is YA, new adult. I mean, you could argue that there is some of those elements. Graceling, so in the world basically of Kristen Kishore, Graceling, if you were born with a power. So that power could be really anything. You could make a perfect loaf of bread. That could be your power. Or you could have the power to kill someone with your touch. It's a full spectrum. So you follow our main character, Katza. She is basically an assassin for like a kingdom. She works for her king, who happens to be her family member, but she works for a king. But she's also kind of leading a rebellion in the background, trying to solve issues that are happening throughout these lands. And you follow her on an adventure as she essentially tries to get someone who's in her basically her kingdom's like dungeon. She's got to get him back home basically because he has been wrongly imprisoned. There's so much more to this. It is beautiful. Like truly, I recommend this book to anyone. This you will probably see this in another video that I'm thinking about doing, which is going to be kind of like intro to fantasy for people because I think this book is just such a good introduction to the world of fantasy. It is truly beautiful. And then you have Fire, who, again, they don't follow the same characters. These are two different POVs. This follows another character, and in this case, they are like a demon. Like there's sort of like gracelings who have powers and demons who, they could be an animal that's, a dog that has green fur or something. Like they look slightly different than they should look, basically. And so we have a demon who is a woman, and her name is Fire. You again follow her on an adventure. It's amazing. It's beautiful. These women are so strong. They push what, in this case, like dominating society, traditional values would have these women be. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I recommend it to everyone. The series also continues on. I can see it kind of pointed up. There's Bitter Blue. There's Winter Keep, and then there is Sea Sparrow. So these books came out years and years and years ago, and then Kristen Kishore actually continued the series with Winter Keep and Sea Sparrow. It's amazing. We are blessed. We are truly so lucky. But yeah, really beautiful. These are also the reprints that got done a couple years ago. They're stunning covers. I'll just say that. They're just stunning. Next, I'm going to get into more kind of like contemporary fiction, which is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I 100% understand why some people don't like Sally Rooney and they don't understand her writing. I will, full disclaimer, I watched Normal People, then I read the book. I would not have enjoyed Normal People, the book, had I not seen that show. I read Conversations with Friends and watched the TV show. I do not like the TV show. I only like the book. It's really hard. Like just sometimes her characters, her relationships, the way she writes these really like mundane day-to-day things in such a nuanced way that can really just miss some people. And I get that. I 100% that she is a very polarizing author. I love Conversations with Friends. It is beautiful. Beautiful. It is, again, so mundane, but it is so beautifully complicated when you look at the relationships. Relationships between friends, relationships between parents, relationships between lovers or people who want to be together, but maybe they shouldn't be at the time they are. But why shouldn't they be? Like, what is this kind of like societal pressure that people can be together only in one particular way or not another way? It is so good. I love this book. I totally get why some people don't, but it is so good. So good. I so recommend you just give it a try. Just take a moment with it. It can hit you really hard. It's really good. The next one I have is Hamnet. If you've watched a couple of my other videos, you'll know it sits up there, but I had to switch it out because I had to pull it down. This is by Maggie O'Farrell. I will just read the back just so you can get an appreciation for like really what this book is, because this is like, this is good. England, 1580. The Black Death creeps across the land, an ominous threat infecting the healthy, the sick, the old, and the young alike. The end of days is near, but life always goes on. A young Latin tutor, penniless and bullied by a violent father, falls in love with an extraordinary, eccentric young woman. Angus is a wild creature who walks her land with a falcon on her glove and is known throughout the countryside for her unusual gifts as a healer, understanding plants and potions better than she does people. Once she settles in with her husband on Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon, she becomes a fiercely protective mother and a steadfast centrifugal force in her life of her young husband, whose career in the London stage is just taking off when his beloved young son succumbs to sudden fever. That, like Maggie O'Farrell, I, after reading this book, have gone into her backlist and have basically tried to find everything I could get my hands on. Everything. Her writing is stunning. Stunning. Audiobook, great. Book by itself, great. You will fall into this world. You will fall into the characters. You will fall into the relationships. You will feel swept up into what Maggie O'Farrell writes. She is beautiful writer, beautiful writer. So yeah, read Hamnet. It's what you might be thinking. I'll just say that. Next, I have a bit of a sci-fi pick, which is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El-Mutar. This is it's like Piranesi. Go into this book a little bit confused and accept and understand you're gonna be confused. This is essentially about time travel. There are two agents, there's red, there's blue, they're on two different sides. They are against each other, they have different agendas, they have different plans, they have different motives, and they have to basically undo each other's work that they've been doing. It follows their relationship in the best possible, most confusing way. You will love them, you will be confused by them, you will root for them, you will cry for them. I love this book. I read it once a year because I adore this book. It's super short. Audiobook is great. The physical book is just as fun. You will have a good time. I get that this can be confusing. Sci-fi in itself can be kind of confusing sometimes. Time travel can be mind-boggling. This book, the human-centered aspect of it, the relationship, the love, the friendship, the heartache, the everything, the fighting, it's just so good. The cover is just so, I love it. Anyway, an all-time favorite, obviously. What's the video called? Next, I'm looking around because I think I forgot one of my books and I have to find it. I have Pure Color by Sheila Heti. If you watch my video of my March reads, this book was on there. It is now on my all-time favorites. I was not expecting this. This book is amazing. This book broke my heart. I sobbed one entire evening away. I lost a Thursday night. I was crying so hard. This book is very short, very powerful. It's hard, I know. I'll try to get as close as I can. I have white tabs, so it's a little bit difficult, but I have so many tabs. I have so many underlines in this book. It is unbelievable. It is, again, most of the books that I like are just I'm confused. Why am I here? What am I reading? Why is this so mundane? Why do I love it? Again, Pure Color, it basically follows a woman, Mira, as she essentially has a relationship with another woman, Annie, or doesn't have a relationship with her. She has a relationship with her dad, doesn't have a relationship with her dad. It's a little bit all over the place, but really at its heart, it's a character study of Mira and her dad and Annie. 3 people that you just need to really keep in mind. I sobbed. I don't know if you heard me. I sobbed reading this book. It hurt me so badly. Loved it. Loved every second of it. Now I have to get up and go get the other book because I realize now that I put it on the other side of the room. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Last book I want to talk about is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. If you know Alice Oseman, you may know her from her Heartstopper series, which is actually kind of behind my head here. Her other books are actually all part of the same world, so they just follow side characters in that series. So this one follows Alid, who is a best friend of Charlie. And Frances. It also follows Frances, who is head girl, she's top of the class, she's a straight A student, she's got her shit figured out. And then you have Alid, who is quiet, he's more reserved. Again, he has his core friend group, he likes what he likes, and they connect. And they start basically recording a podcast together called Universe City. And it goes from there. Their adventures, their friendship, the ups, the downs, different identities get explored. It is so good. And just so you appreciate the whole ethos of this book, you probably think that Alid Last and I are going to fall in love or something, since he's a boy and I'm a girl. I just wanted to say we don't. So go into this book. This ain't romance, people. This is friendship. It is beautiful, beautiful, Beautiful friendship. I loved this book. There was also some aspects of Frances's relationships with, like, her sibling and, like, her mom that I really resonated with. Like, it really kind of hit me hard how much you can connect with a character that somebody creates. There were times in this book, I am not kidding when I say this, I actually was like, "Does Alice Oseman know me? Have we conversed? Is she stalking me?" Like, it's funny, but it's like there's real stuff in this book that I have experienced that she wrote about exactly how I felt about it. And I was like, I'm confused. Is this me? Is Frances me? Am I Frances? Anyway, such a good book. Resonated so much with me. I loved it. I love Alice Oseman's writing. It's definitely a big push for me this next couple years to find more of her backlist. That isn't, again, just Heartstopper, but her other stories, because really, just a really, really lovely writer. But yeah, this is another favorite of mine. But yeah, that is my stack of books. I will actually show it off so you can get an appreciation here. It's honestly not that heavy. It's just really awkward to hold. No, I say that now and watch it fall. That is my stack. About 10 of my favorite fiction books. I highly recommend all of them. Really, all of them. But yeah, there's YA, there's science fiction, there's fantasy, there is contemporary fiction, there's everything that you could hope for. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back again with another video soon. Bye.